Welcome to Richard Mabey Presents.
Hello, YouTube friends. This is Richard Mabey with Richard Mabey Presents. It's Monday morning, August 14th, 2023. And obviously, I have a really bad sore throat. And I'm just focused on having enough volume that my voice is loud enough to carry over for the video. So I'm wearing my the old Don Knotts Barney Fife t-shirt. There he is, the great one, the one of the absolutely greatest comedy actors of all time, the one and only Don Knotts. I love Don Knotts. I met Don Knotts on two separate and distinct occasions. And I had sent him a fan letter, and he was in Atlantic City I saw him in two plays. But he had, and I had written several articles, columns about Don, and sent them to him or his agent, whatever, or manager, whatever it was. So I was invited to meet Don, my mom and dad, and my sister, and some friends of ours, and we went backstage after the play and met Don. It was the coolest thing in the world. I have a picture of it somewhere, and I'll show that. I'll show that photo, on a future YouTube episode. I had it's Monday morning, and last Friday I went out in the yard, and it was just the sore throat thing was just starting. So I go outside just to assess my yard, and I'm just walking in the front yard and the side yard, and I'm on the side. My house faces kind of a side street, but let me think now, the eastern side of my house faces, it's kind of a main drag in my village. So this fellow's walking his dog, and I can't remember if I ever, I don't know if I ever talked to him and we introduced ourselves, or I've just talked to him. I just see him when he walks his dog, and I'm outside working on the yard. So it was about, I don't know, about 3:00 in the afternoon, 3:30. Oh no, it was before the Tombstone Territory show. That's at 3. So I guess it was about 2:30 in the afternoon. So I always watch Tombstone Epitaph show on what do they call that? Grit. I think it's on Grit. So anyway, this fella says, and I guess I'll be 70 in September, so I think he's about 5-6 years older than me. And he says, hey, he goes like this. He goes, hey, look, hey. I says, hey, how you doing? Because I don't remember I don't remember doing the intro thing on with him. And he says, you're getting a lot of, like the little courtyard area on my front door and the area around my walkway into the house, there's weeds. And I confess there's weeds there. And he says, hey, you're getting a lot of weeds there. So, and then he says, your hedges need to be trimmed. And he says, be a shame. It'd be a shame if someone turned you into the HOA. And I'm thinking, wow. So, anyway, I've got this sore throat and I've got all these weeds outside. But in the greater picture of it all, it makes me wonder, like, what has happened to common decency? What has happened to just people being good to each other, people being nice to each other, people being having some degree of compassion and I don't know. You know, I do have weeds out there. My hedges do need to be trimmed. To be brutally honest, you know, most of these lawn care guys, that's chauvinist, lawn care people, you know, they'll get like just to do your hedges and weed, that'll be like $100 to $150 to trim a tree. To trim my live oak tree, sit down. And I've asked 3 or 4 these lawn care types, the lawn care people, $350 to $400 to trim my live oak. One tree, $350 to $400 to trim a tree. So I do need to do some trimming on the live oak, but I feel like I have a fever, and I feel general, what do they call it, general body malaise, and I got aches and pains. So and this, my throat is really sore. I've been taking vitamins A and D and zinc, and terrible headache. Terrible headache. So, but I mean, I don't know, like, I went into my house, and I'm thinking, what's this guy's problem, you know, like, and then there's the street, there's, we go down the street, make a left, make another left, and this house looks like a jungle. In fact, I filmed it on a couple of my previous YouTube videos. It looks like a jungle. And I got some weeds, and this guy's walking his dog on a Friday afternoon. Well, yeah, but 2:30 in the afternoon, and he's got to go, hey, it'd be a shame if somebody turned you into the HOA, you know. So I wish, I don't ever want to live in one of these HOA communities ever again. It's not all it's cracked up to be. If you're up there in Jersey and New York, Connecticut, West Virginia, you're in Squirrel Valley, Pennsylvania, and the glitter and the pizzazz of hey Florida, hey gated community Florida. I'm not saying anything against it. I'm not, you know, being some radical saying, you know. But what I'm saying is, really think it over. Really think it over. Really think it over. Think of everything you got in Squirrel Valley. Think of it, it's really hot out here. It's the it's one of the greatest heat waves in the history of Florida right now. I don't have the answers, but all I'm saying is really think it over. Um, if you have children, grandchildren, maybe they live in the same town that you live in, or maybe they live like half hour or an hour away, and you can see them on weekends and that kind of thing. And really think it over. Really think it over. Think a lot. Think a lot about it, and just um, don't get mesmerized by the outer coating of the glitter and what seems to be the glitter and charm and wonder of gated community Florida. Really think it over. If you're out there in Squirrel Valley, Pennsylvania, and I think you know what I mean, like, you've got a little town, and maybe it still has a little main street and a hardware store and a luncheonette and, a little grocery store kind of thing. Maybe you got like a Dairy Queen down the street. Think of everything you got. Think of everything you got. I think all in all, Thomas Wolfe was right. You can't go home again. And Earl Hamner wrote a great book. It's hard to find, and I don't. It's a fantastic book. Earl Hamner Jr., who is the real life John Boy, the entire brain trust, executive producer of the Waltons, wrote a lot of the Waltons episodes, laid the foundation for just about every script of the Waltons. But Earl Hamner Jr. wrote a book, You Can't Get There From Here. And that had to deal when he was a young man in New York City, and he had that homesick feeling for Schuyler, Virginia. And Schuyler, Virginia is the real life Walton's Mountain, much like Mount Airy, North Carolina is the real life Mayberry. So I guess this is a great spiritual lesson here. Think about what you have in life and really dig deep in your heart and think about what you got before you move, and pray about it. If you believe in God, pray about, is this, dear Lord, is this what you want me to do? Do you want me to go? Should I move to Florida? And it's people, the sociologists and all those kind of people, like anthropologists and all the very learned people, Ivy Towers, are amazed. The building, I've tried to capture it in video, but there's massive building here that now they call this area of the Villages, and it's outlying communities. They call it Northern, Middle, Central Florida. Basically from Ocala, starting from the north, Ocala, and going down to Sumterville, and then from the And then from, I would say, from the Leesburg, that's east of here, Leesburg and Fruitland Park, and then all the way down to the west to Wildwood area there. If you were to take those cities and those towns and form a rectangle, that would be northern, middle, central Florida. Some people include Gainesville, but I think the outer margin for northern, middle, central Florida is Ocala, but some people say all the way up to Gainesville. Anyway, they're building like crazy. They're building like crazy. Apartments, condominiums, not just single family homes, apartments and condominiums, a lot of restaurants, a lot of fast food restaurants, a lot of banks, a lot of car washes. It's wild. A lot of gas stations, these big, huge Circle K's and 7-Elevens and that kind of thing. Wawa. Building a lot of Wawas here. So I'm going to close. If you believe in God, say a prayer for me that might get over this. I got over this sore throat thing. So, well, I'm going to close. So stay happy, stay positive, and yeah, stay healthy. Oh, man. This is Richard Mabey. Signing off.